Meet Jeff and Julie Garnsey. Their day starts early, typically at the break of dawn.
Starts at 4:30.
Starts at 4:30, yeah. We're up at 4:30 in the morning so that we can get at least a couple cups of coffee in before the chaos begins.
Jeff can usually be found in one of his barns feeding the over 70 animals him and Julie have rescued. After farm duties, the two head out to their respective jobs on the St. Lawrence River and in Clayton. But this constantly moving lifestyle is normal and not too different from their time serving in the Navy, both entering right after high school, not knowing the success they would find. However, Julie finding inspiration from her father, a 22-year Navy veteran.
So I went into the Navy in 1983, a year out of high school. I was in delayed entry for a year. I really didn't plan on staying for 24 years. My plan was to go in, get some college education, have the Navy pay for my education, and then get out and do my thing. And after the first few years, it was just a lot of fun. So I just wanted this opportunity. And when I went in, my dad actually still had some buddies that were in, so they kind of guided me.
Julie went on to become a Naval Hospital Corpsman, serving for many years alongside the Marines all over the world.
When we pulled lines and we were at sea, it was all about us taking care of the entire ship, and there was no doctor, or we just did what had to be done. Anywhere from, somebody man overboard, or, somebody gets injured, or you have to diagnose with basically just looking at the person because you don't really have much.
Quickly becoming a natural leader, many, including top naval officials, referring to her as Doc.
If the captain would see me calming down through the passageway, he would stop for me and be like, "Come on, I know you're doing something, Doc. You gotta be, if you're down here," and if I had my bag on me, people stepped aside for you because you're the one that's going there to take care of them. There are still people that I know that call me Doc.
Which helped her career take off. Working on some of the top Navy ships in the world, she quickly realized she could do anything.
You have that kind of authority and you don't abuse it, but you use it correctly, and you get that respect. And it's hard to explain how much that is. It gives you confidence to do anything that you want to do. And I always tell people that when they're like, "How do you do?" I can't do that. I'm like, yes, you can. You can do anything you want to do. It's just a matter of putting your mind to it and training yourself.
The same year Julie joined the Navy, Jeff, a local Clayton kid, knew he wanted to be on submarines and enlisted.
I saw this advertisement for the newest submarine, and it was the USS Ohio. It was the first of the Trident submarines. And I thought, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. It just, there was no more planning than that.
Following naval recruitment, he had the opportunity to go to sub school.
It was about a 75% attrition rate in sub school, and 12 of us went in and 3 of us graduated.
Jeff then was assigned to a fast attack submarine based out of Groton, Connecticut, which he says was life-changing.
Spent 10 months out of the year at sea. We did things that I never, ever would have had the opportunity to do. I got my dolphins standing on the North Pole with the Chief of Naval Operations standing right there after we did 97 consecutive days under the ice. We still, to this day, the Trepang holds the endurance record underneath the polar ice cap, and we surfaced 3 times. A Clayton kid getting to do something like that was unimaginable.
This sparked passion in the young sailor, and he spent 9 years at sea. He was eventually assigned to shore duty, which he approached in the same manner.
In the Navy, you go at it 100%. There's no, I'd really be happy if, but you go at it like it's the only job in the world, and it never disappointed. And every single wicket that I needed to fall over the course of 26 years fell perfectly. And it was all about suiting up, showing up, loving your job, being motivated, and people believing you.
Halfway through their naval careers, both holding chief rankings at the time, their stories crossed paths while working at the Bureau for Naval Affairs in Tennessee. The two quickly becoming a power couple of naval leaders. After working at the Bureau for Naval Affairs, they eventually had the opportunity to write their next orders, taking them to somewhere much more tropical than the North Country.
She went to the newest cruiser, the USS Port Royal. I went to the newest fast attack, second flight 688, and we both went to Hawaii. and neither of us has been there, so we spent 6 years in paradise.
But it wasn't always easy. Both Julie and Jeff were active duty, which took a turn after 9/11.
They were on the same deployment cycles, so we were going to go out on deployment together and hit all the same ports together, and then 9/11 happened. So my ship got short-stroked and sent to sea. So we spent the first 3 years
Opposite
tag
schedules.
team.
But because of their commitment to service, they were able to push forward.
It's mission. It doesn't make it any easier. You don't like it, but you understand it because soon you're going to be on the other side of that. So I think it's a little easier to just understand that this is what we signed up to do. And so it's okay. Doesn't make it easier, but it's okay.
Their service proving successful when their son Joshua joined the Navy, eventually stationed with his parents in Paradise.
Nothing really measures up to the feeling of pride you have when a family member does something. For Julie, it was when she got picked to go to a float training group. She was the #1 medical on the Pacific Fleet. But seeing our son walk across the brow of his first ship, just that was the thing that eclipsed everything, because you knew that even though you missed all that, that you did something that caught his eye, and now when you turn around, he's in your footprints.
During this time, Jeff made Master Chief in 2006.
When you get put into a position where you're in 1%, it just validates the fact that you made the right decisions. And that sorry. You'd walk onto a ship and they may acknowledge the captain, but they were going to speak to the Master Chief. And when an admiral came to the boat, these admirals were guys that you were an ensign with, or they were ensigns when you were a seaman recruit or, an E2 or E3. Then 20 years later, they're a 3-star.
Jeff continued in this role for 3 years. Julie retired as a highly decorated hospital corpsman in 2006, and Jeff joined her a few years later. From the armed services to community service, after the Garnseys retired from the Navy, they decided to come back here to Clayton, New York, starting the next chapter of their lives, giving back to the community.
Coming back to Clayton was always the end game, being back where we belong. And being able to do what we want to do instead of what we have to do is just, it makes every day the best day.
Jeff and Julie continue their busy lives in Clayton, Jeff owning a boating and fishing charter company, and Julie the executive director at the Clayton Opera House. Both serve on several organizations, but their proudest accomplishment is their animal sanctuary.
There was definitely a place for what we do. And neither of us had any idea that was coming down the pike. We didn't wake up one morning and say, let's start a large animal rescue. You don't know that you're missing something until you're part of something that big.
Now, they're making it their mission to help the next generation find their passions, whether it's fishing on the river, loving animals, or just giving back.
The military is easy to say, well, I served the military. There are all kinds of opportunities like that to serve, and there's examples that you set as an adult, and even teenagers, you set those examples and you showing the next generation that service to the community is really important, because after all, we're one family.
People all the time are saying, when I was a kid, I was out on the river with my dad doing this, and you just relight that little spark. Or you plant the seed that maybe that animal isn't just a product, maybe the animal is important. Every decision that we make that's not based on what I want or what's about us has a much, much larger impact. So try it, and you'll find your niche, and you'll find your reason to shake off the cobwebs at 4:30 in the morning and get up.